Do's and don'ts of Vietnam culture. Welcome to Kim's World Travel. If you're planning a trip to Vietnam or just intrigued by its rich culture, this video is for you. Vietnam is an incredible country with stunning landscapes, delicious food, and an amazing history. But, like any foreign destination, Vietnam has its own unique set of cultural practices and etiquette. By learning the do's and don'ts ahead of your visit, you can ensure a smoother, more enjoyable trip while also showing respect to the locals. In this video, I'll guide you through the essential cultural tips to help you get the most out of your journey to Vietnam. From greetings and eating habits to temple etiquette and street market negotiations, we'll cover all the bases. So, let's get started. To make the most of your time in Vietnam, let's start with the do's. These are the things you'll want to try or keep in mind to respect and connect with the culture. A warm smile goes a long way in Vietnam. It's a universal gesture of friendliness that can instantly help you connect with locals, whether you're in a bustling market or a remote village. While shaking hands is common, it's usually done lightly, especially with elders or women. Keep your handshake gentle, or opt for a respectful nod if you're unsure. Even a few basic Vietnamese phrases can make a big impact. Words like xin chào, hello, and cmn, thank you, are easy to learn and show locals that you respect their language and culture. It can also spark delightful interactions, as many Vietnamese people appreciate when visitors make an effort to speak their language. Vietnamese culture places great importance on respecting elders. When interacting with older individuals, greet them first, maintain a humble demeanor, and be sure to let them lead conversations or actions. Respect for age is a cornerstone of Vietnamese society. When visiting temples or religious sites, dressing modestly is essential. Avoid shorts, sleeveless tops, or anything overly revealing. Bring a scarf or shawl to cover your shoulders if necessary. Simple gestures like these show that you understand and respect their sacred spaces. Always remove your shoes before entering a Vietnamese home or any religious building, like temples and pagodas. You'll typically see shoes left at the entrance, which is your cue to follow suit. While Vietnam has countless picturesque moments worth capturing, always ask for permission before taking photos of locals, especially monks and workers. A polite gesture or a quick, xin phép chpnh Kong. May I take a photo, goes a long way. Trying street food is a must in Vietnam. From pho to bon mi and com tam, the flavors are unforgettable. However, follow the locals, they usually know the cleanest and tastiest stalls. Also, try to eat like a local, use chopsticks properly, place them on the chopstick rest between bites, and never stick them upright in your bowl. Vietnamese life has a rhythm of its own, often much slower in rural areas and noticeably fast-paced in cities. Be patient as you get used to the different pace. Things may not always go according to plan, but embracing the flow will help you enjoy your experience more. Bargaining is a common practice in Vietnam, but always do it politely. Learn some basic phrases like bao nhiêu tiền, how much, to engage in friendly negotiations. Accept the price with a smile if the vendor doesn't lower it. Respectful bargaining keeps the atmosphere light and fun. Now, let's talk about the things you shouldn't do in Vietnam. While travelers are almost always met with kindness, avoiding these cultural missteps will help you leave a positive impression. In Vietnam, feet are considered the lowest and dirtiest part of the body. Pointing your feet at someone, whether sitting or standing, is extremely disrespectful. Be mindful of where you place your feet, especially when sitting down. The head is seen as sacred in Vietnamese culture. Avoid touching anyone's head, even as a friendly gesture. This applies to both adults and children, and it's especially important to remember when interacting with locals for the first time. Vietnamese people value calm and harmonious behavior in public spaces. Shouting or raising your voice can give off a negative impression. Instead, try to remain composed, even in stressful situations like dealing with transportation delays or negotiating prices. Temples and pagodas are spiritual hubs in Vietnam, and you'll likely visit several during your trip. Show respect by staying quiet, refraining from touching holy objects, and avoiding photographs unless explicitly allowed. Always follow the lead of locals at religious sites. In Vietnam, a handshake is usually not as firm as in Western cultures. A lighter handshake or even a slight bow with palms together is often more appropriate, especially when greeting elders or those in religious roles. Although Vietnam is becoming more open to different forms of self-expression, public displays of affection, like kissing, can still be frowned upon, especially in rural or traditional areas. Save intimacy for private spaces to avoid making others uncomfortable. If you're invited to someone's home, you'll often be offered tea or food. Even if you're not hungry, accept at least a small amount. Refusing can be seen as dismissive or rude. Take a quick sip or nibble to express your gratitude. While haggling is part of the culture, avoid escalating your negotiations into an argument. Keep it friendly and light-hearted. The goal isn't to win, but to find an agreeable middle ground. You'll often see small offerings of food, flowers, or incense placed on sidewalks or at temple entrances. These are spiritual offerings to ancestors or deities. Be cautious and respectful, don't step over or disturb them. Tipping isn't as common in Vietnam as it is in some other countries. In local restaurants and street food stalls, it's not expected, but leaving a small amount for excellent service is always appreciated. Check whether tipping is customary in specific settings, like hotels or high-end restaurants. Vietnam has a complex and fascinating history. Learning even a little about it before your trip, or while you're there, shows respect and opens the door to deeper conversations with locals. Vietnam's culture can vary between regions. What's common in the north may differ from practices in the south, and central Vietnam has its nuances, too. Stay open-minded and adapt according to local customs. Crossing the street in a busy city like Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City can seem chaotic. The trick is to walk slowly and steadily while watching traffic. Drivers will flow around you. Avoid sudden movements, and trust the rhythm of the streets. While Vietnam is moving toward cashless payments, many smaller shops or vendors still prefer cash. Always have small denominations of Vietnamese dong handy for street food, taxes, or tips. Vietnamese culture values politeness, so don't forget to say CMN for even the smallest services or gestures. A heartfelt thank you will always be appreciated. That's a wrap on the do's and don'ts of Vietnam culture. By keeping these tips in mind, you'll be ready to explore this amazing country with confidence and respect. Remember, no one expects you to understand everything perfectly, just showing an effort to learn and adapt goes a long way. Vietnamese people are incredibly welcoming, and respecting their culture will only enhance your trip. Whether it's savoring street food, marveling at ancient temples, or engaging in conversations with locals, your journey will be all the more meaningful when guided by cultural awareness. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kim's World Travel. For more travel tips and exciting destinations, stay tuned to our channel. Thank you for watching, and I wish you an unforgettable adventure in Vietnam.